Let's see if I can record another video. It's a cold day today. Cold wind is blowing, so I'm back in my winter clothes. Or actually, I left my winter clothes for one day. But it is cool again. Look at the deer. Look at the deer in the field. Mule deers. Anyways, I wanted to talk about love and my transition over the last 5 years from someone who needed love desperately. Of course, I didn't show my desperation because I was so contained and shut down within myself that I didn't allow myself to feel the need for love. But my twin flame opened up the can of worms and let out the monkeys out of my cage, the monkey mind, and all of those emotions just came up. And then my twin left me to sit with my monkeys. My inner childhood, my inner child emotional needs that had remained unmet for 50 years. You can imagine the zoo that ensued of someone coming to unlock the cage and then take off and leave you to deal with the chaos, the emotional chaos of trying to manage these untamed monkeys. So I spent a good 3 years after that trying to resolve and regulate this emotional chaos, which had plunged me into my dark night of the soul, or a better term is the dark night of the ego, or both. Both were in turmoil, and it revealed a lot about me. But not only did it reveal myself to me at such a depth, it revealed the template, the blueprint for every other human being. So now I have a better understanding of you, of humanity in general. And through this understanding, I can self-regulate and I can regulate my responses and reactions toward other people. So I've come a long ways in the 5 years to where I reconciled my monkeys. They have been tamed now. They don't need to be in cages and kept locked away. I dealt with my inner child needs, my emotional and psychological needs, and I was able to meet those needs from my higher state of consciousness, or the God self, or the intuitive presence of my higher soul. And that is basically the voice and the presence that does not operate within the paradigm of human identities and labels. So I was not analyzing myself from all the labels that my ego had created for me. So I started working on myself from that neutral space instead of identifying as a failure identifying as a broken human being, identifying as a damaged human being, although my psyche was damaged. Life had left its imprints on me, its dents on me, and the bruises. But there was this higher aspect of me that is greater than all labels and is expansive. We tend to call that God, but it's really just the greater aspect of ourselves that we don't recognize when we're fully in ego protection mode. So I cleared my emotional needs, because every need is based on a story, on the programming that we have received. And so I dismantled the stories, basically, by telling myself, I am God, I am that I am. I'm God having a human experience. So that takes the pressure off of having to perform in the respective roles that society has placed on us, right? So, first of all, I did not have to perform under the label of being a woman, or being female, or being a wife, or being a mother. I did not... I feel like I didn't have to perform under the pressure of those roles. That helped a great deal. And it took the pressure of my mind, my mental state. I can look at life in a non-reactive manner, because in my neutrality, I'm not invested in any labels that I needed to defend. So I could look through a very clear lens. And then I would ask ask myself the questions, is this necessary? Is this rational? Why is this need there? And in the process, I could, make sense, explain it to myself, and expand my understanding of where the needs were formed in the first place, and what can I do to alleviate them or meet them. And it always came back to self-love, right? To give myself that which I was expecting from other people to give to me. And pretty soon my cup started filling up, and I started to feel full, to where I no longer needed the affirmations and validations of other people to make me feel valuable in myself, right? So my cup was filling up, and I changed. Instead of needing love or seeking love from the people around me, I became love. I became love. And it literally transformed me to live in a state of being in love at all times, whether the person of interest, like in my case the twin flame, was available to love me back or not. It didn't matter anymore. I became love. I became the very thing that previously I was lacking and was seeking from another person to fulfill in me. So I am not your normal average human being anymore. I'm a very balanced person who has found the source of all things lacking within myself. I am the source. And so I can be in love with people without them loving me in return. I can still experience love every day because I am that. I have become that, if that makes sense. So my person of interest is still absent, AWOL, and that's okay. and they may remain AWOL. But since I have become the source of love, I can love everybody. I mean, there are levels, of intimacy that are reserved for a soul that strikes your tuning fork, at every resonance level. And it's something very special when you can find that and develop that. But it's not necessary. If, your life won't end if you find you can't have that. If that person doesn't come forward, in the same way, you can still be love, and you can still experience yourself every day in love. And that is so fulfilling, so self-fulfilling, and other people appreciate it too, right? So when you become love, you essentially become God. If we remove all the stories that we have created around the label God, because God is love. That's really the undefinable thing about God. Love. God is love, and love is God. And if you become love, if you have gained the ability to be love, then you are